privilege.
Absolutely, man. It's a privilege of mine as well. Thanks for jumping on with me. And just to give you a heads up, man, I thought I might have 40 minutes, but I might only have like 30 minutes because a couple things came up today for me professionally, so I might have to jump off a little early.
No
Um,
problem at all. It probably won't even take 30. So, we're going to let it flow organically and naturally and just get to it.
Indeed, indeed. And so again, I appreciate you, man. And so one of the things that just initially stood out, because I saw that we linked up on LinkedIn, but then, I did the math on your name and I see that your name is really, um, it carries meanings connected to success and trust
All
and reliability, if I'm not mistaken. And so, um, I was wondering, how does your name connect to the work that you're doing right now through your organization, CTC?
Great question. Great question. So the name originated from my grandmother, who was Muslim, and it's an Arabic name. And to your point, yes, my first name Wafeeq means successful in Arabic, and then my last name means trustworthy in Arabic. So for me, at first, when you're younger, you don't really understand the concept and the responsibility that come with that. But as you start to embrace your name and your calling, you kind of walk into that. So for me, I just strive to be successful in everything that I do and just be a trustworthy person while doing it. You know what I mean? Like just being a man of my word, a man of integrity, and then just instilling that in other people. So I started doing life coaching originally, and then I started doing some work in the reentry and the recovery space. So that's what led me like, okay, like this kind of feels like my lane, my niche. Even though I don't have the lived experience of being incarcerated myself, it's just the politics and watching other people go through that process. I felt like I want to be the one to kind of change the narrative, so to say. So I jumped into the work head first. So what I really did was just transition my life coaching to the reentry space, and I just jumped in, started getting experience, started meeting people, started connecting, and I was able to just kind of build my own platform doing that. So like now, I'm just trying to expand my reach, connect with other like-minded individuals because I understand the powers in collaboration. I don't have all the answers. I don't know it all. I don't have all the resources. So the more I connect with like-minded people on the same mission and journey as me, I think that's going to elevate my brand and my personal mission as well.
Indeed, man. And it's like the single digits on our hand, they're no good by themselves. But when we
All
put the
right.
whole hand together, it can do some damage, it can do some work, it can be functional.
There you go.
I
There you
feel
go.
you. I
There you
feel you.
go.
And like your LinkedIn statement, man, it says reclaim plus rebuild equals redemption. That's
Mm,
dope. You heard?
sir. Yes,
Right.
sir.
So like what does it mean? Like for justice involved people or people that's recovery driven to reclaim their identity after incarceration or addiction or trauma or whatever the issues are that cause a lot of our people to spiral down.
That's a great one. So I think for me, what I've noticed and I've realized is, and this is just based on my personal and professional experience, a lot of people making that transition, coming back into society, they don't have the identity. Like they might have had the identity who they thought they was prior to
Mm.
or previously, but when they make that transition and they come back, and now society is totally different, expectations is different, life is different, right? Everything moving at a fast pace. They struggle to identify who they are. So my whole quest and my whole purpose is just helping them reestablish themselves, reclaim who they think they are, and strive to be that person that they always was called to be. So really just grassroots digging, going to the depths of who you are, to your soul and to your call and to your purpose, and really tapping into that and figuring out how do we bring that to the world.
Indeed. And sometimes who people think they are or who they really are, it's just there's no space for that type of person in today's society. So they have
Absolutely.
to be able to, I guess, flex or bend. They got to be able to shape with the time sometime, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Or their identity is tied to a title,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yeah.
some type of something along those lines. Like a lot of people say, well, I want to do this. Or I want to be a truck driver, or I'm a dad, or I'm this. Yeah, you're that. But to the core, who are you? If you take
Yeah.
away all those titles and all
Yeah.
those superficial things and those things on the surface, to the depth of your soul, who are you? That's
Yeah.
that's the person I want to speak to.
And that's dope that you say that because I was just doing a little walk the other night. I did like an extended walk. I go for walks, I go for bike rides and stuff, but I was walking the other day and I was thinking to myself, and I always go back here, who are you? And I was like, man, I got all these titles and all these I don't know, just titles and whatever you want to call it, but people know me as various things, but do they really know who I am?
Right,
And I had to say to myself, I simply am. And that's where I always come back to. And then, you add on the title, I am dad, I am father, I am uncle, I am, robber, burglar, or scholar, whatever. But
right,
those are just titles. But who are you? I simply am you know.
right,
And so
right.
people, I think that's a place where a lot of people need to go to. And I think if they get there, then they'll stop trying to fulfill the expectations of these titles, and they might find a little more success and happiness in their lives.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree, and I definitely like just simplifying and just saying I am, and
Yeah.
then the becoming happens, right? I am this or I am that, but it starts with us and understanding our own unique identity and our creativity and why we're here.
Yeah.
Because once you find out that you're no one like anyone else in the world, and you have a unique skill set and capabilities as yourself, that's
Mhm.
where you need to really tap into and find the source of like, okay, what's going to make me happy? What drives me? What motivates me? What gives me that feeling of fulfillment and purpose? And that's the area that we got to tap into to bring our whole self to the forefront.
And I think when people are moving in that direction, that is when they're starting to truly become educated
Yes,
because
sir.
they're starting to tap into their natural proclivities, gifts, and talents instead of just memorizing some sort of information that's been presented to them through a curriculum, that tells them if you master this curriculum, somehow now you're educated.
Right,
No, you're just well trained, bro. You're just well
right.
trained, sus, because you got
Yes, sir.
a degree or whatever. But yo, man, tell me about CTC. Because again, I see that it's described as a movement and
Hmm.
not just a service. And so I found myself thinking, like, what makes this work a movement? And how do you help people move from simply receiving support to becoming part of something larger than themselves?
Yeah, I call it a movement because I'm here to disrupt and change the narrative and break the society norms, right? So in order to do that, you gotta spark a movement. You gotta get people inspired for that change and that trajectory that they're striving to hit. So again, I'm just calling all men, right? Calling all men from all walks of life, no matter your background, history, demographic, right? My goal is to inspire you to be the best version of yourself and show up as that individual every day. And what does he look like? What is he doing? How does he carry himself? What characteristics and attributes do he have that's going to make him unique in this world, right? And if we all find that, right, then now you have a fraternity of men that's moving in one direction and one accord. And that's been my thing. Like I can't be a solo man on a mission, right? So the more men that I inspire and I impact on a day-to-day level, I think the movement grows. And then now we're walking in one line. So that's my goal.
Yeah. And there's no change without movement.
Right.
And then
Right.
sometimes we don't move in the right direction, if we're not careful. And so the change becomes regressive instead of progressive.
Yes, sir. That's a good point, right? Because you can have movement, but that don't mean moving in the right direction, right?
Right,
Like,
right, right.
so yes, sir.
I think about Method Man right now as we're talking, because in one of Method Man's songs, he says, "Moving, baby, keep it moving," you know, uh,
Right.
old Wu-Tang joints. And so I think, yeah, how are you moving? Which way are you moving? And the way that we move determines how people see us, how the world engages with us. And a lot of times, the way we move, the way we are perceived, determines what comes to us or what we gain or how we leave a mark on this world. So it's like, yeah, how are we moving? We have to move with consciousness and with thoughtfulness. So I really appreciate that, man. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
and so how about this too, man? Because one, again, I have to go back. I was really just humbled and grateful that you reached out to me. And then so, once I saw you were doing some really good things, especially with what I call my people,
Right.
when I say my people, it's not just men, it's not just black men, but it's those people who've been incarcerated because I did a 12-year sentence. I've been home for almost 30 years. I did 8 years on that 12 behind the wall, four on paper. Um,
Mm.
but I came home from prison, and I still continue to heal 30 years later, but there's some people who are just fresh on their road to recovery from prison or drugs or whatever. They're dealing maybe with shame and, lost time, uncertainty, all this stuff that comes with, the lifestyles that lead us into addiction and prison. And so these are the men that you're dealing with, men that I'm dealing with, women as well. But how do you, as a program leader or organization leader, how do you help people rediscover their purpose? And that's kind of going back to what we talked about in the beginning. But how do you like what are the steps you take to help them rediscover their purpose and maybe believe that, they're still capable, they still belong. Yeah, what's the formula, man?
Yeah, that's a great one. So I would say this: there's no exact formula, but I think every person create their own formula. We just got to figure out what your formula in DNA in that matter is
Mhm.
the makeup, right? So two things I always strive as a coach that I want to inspire. I want you to feel confident and I want you to feel comfortable in any room that you go in,
Mhm.
right? So if we're talking from jumping back into the workforce or jumping back into society, just feeling like you matter and you belong despite your imperfections and everything that you come with, right? So instead of running from it, right, or using it as a hindrance, embrace it. Because
Yeah,
once you embrace it, now you're embracing your whole self. Like you have a unique story. You went through those things for a reason, and everything that happened to you happens for you, right? Not just to you. So if you start to embrace that moniker and that mindset, it just helps you see the world and create your lens through the world through your own mission and your own outlet, right? So from there, then once you feel confident and comfortable, I want you to embrace your unique talents. What is something that you have uniquely about you that will distinct you from anybody else in the room, right? What is your skill set? Whether it is the way you think, the way you operate, your connectivity, whatever your capability is at, let's bring those to the forefront. So I always identify our strengths. We all got things that we need to work on, but let's highlight and push our strengths first. What are your strengths? I'm really good at this, or I love doing this, or I'm passionate about this. Okay, how do we lean on that? And then once we lean on that and we
Mhm.
start to create a pathway for ourselves, then we start to work on the things that we feel like we might be have a little bit more insecurities, like the things that we struggle with, or the thing that's holding us back, or the mindset that needs to shift and change entering this new world and this new way of living. And then from there, we just build it. We build and we build. And before you know it, you look back and you say, man, I made all this progress, not just movement, but progress.
Right.
And now I'm moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I feel like my life has meaning and purpose now.
Yeah, dig it. Because yeah, we could be moving, man, and just sit in the chair, but still be moving and
There you go.
shaking
There you
and ain't
go.
done a damn thing.
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Broke out some sweat.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks for sharing that, man. Word is born. And so are there like particular like structures or particular modalities that everybody needs, or I know you said everybody has something different, but I'm thinking about like maybe mentoring or community or accountability or coaching. Like, is there a core set of things that most people need during recovery and reentry? And if so, what are they?
Yes, I think a shift in mindset is the biggest thing, right? Once you start to shift your mindset and think outside of your circumstances, I think that changes your reality. So that's the biggest thing that I try to tap into first is how are you thinking? What is your mindset? They said 80% of our thoughts is negative, right? So imagine 80% of your life being negative up until this point, right? And now you're trying to rearrange that and readjust that. So the first thing I would say is just changing the way you think and your mentality. But also, we all need a support system, whether that's family, friends, someone close to us that's going to keep us motivated, that's going to keep us accountable, and something to strive for, whether it's kids, family, relationship, whatever that family dynamic or that love component is coming from. I
Yeah.
think we all need that as well. But then also, resources. And I think just being in this field, right, you see the lack of resources for
Yeah.
this particular community, whether it's recovery or reentry. There's not a lot of resources, and if they are, everybody's fighting for the same resources, so it's limited, right? So being able to not take advantage of your resources, but use them to your advantage. It's a program that I used to work with, and it's all in house, and they have this hub type dynamic, and everything is in house. But a lot of people come there, and when they first get there, they don't even know where to start or where to pick, and they're trying to figure it out. So again, just having someone to kind of, well, okay, let's start here, right? This is your basic needs. Let's focus on that, and then we could take care of the other things. So just again, just resources, coaching, changing your mentality and understanding like where you at and where you going and how do you get there, and really just diving in and just starting to hit the ground running from there.
Yeah. Yeah. And so two things that I'm thinking about. And one is that basically what I'm gathering from you is that your work is really focused on transformation,
Yes.
helping people transform. And transformation is very challenging, as we know, especially when we're dealing with folks who are coming from marginalized communities that are disenfranchised with very few resources, as you pointed out. And the resources that are there sometimes causes us to fight physically as well as, in other ways amongst each other just for those basic resources, man. You know, and so it I don't know, it resonates with me. And for me, I think it's I wouldn't say divine. It's not divine, but I think it's a diabolical plan um
Mm,
that has been launched to keep our people disenfranchised and marginalized, you know, um, because I think our people are just as capable as anybody else, and not just black and brown people, but people who've been in prison or people who have a lack of resources. I think many of times we can't realize our greatness because we're too focused on our survival.
yes.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, how do we transform and get out of that survival mode? Like last night, me and my wife were sitting on the couch watching television. Our son was upstairs. Our other son was somewhere else out in the community. And I was talking about this work that we do, and I was like, we're really fortunate to be able to just sit on our couch and watch TV
Right.
and eat snacks.
Right.
We ain't got to worry about were we sleeping tonight, were we eating tonight, you know, all of these, survival things. So I would like to see more people like that, in a position where they don't have to worry about their survival. You know, for whatever that's worth. I don't know. I just went on a tangent.
Nah, that was something. If you don't mind, I definitely want to tap into that. And I think I will resonate with this as well, just because of the way you frame that thought pattern. Is when you really, really think about it and you break it down, this work for me and for you, from what I'm gathering based on your insight, is that level of fulfillment and gratitude that we get from seeing people live and operate in survival mode day in and day out always keep us grounded and appreciative of the things that we do have,
Yes, sir.
right? I'm not so focused on the things that I don't have. I'm grateful for the things that I do have,
Yeah,
and I'm striving for the things that I want.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but when you see people literally in survival mode every day and been in this state of mind, this state of being for so long, and they're struggling with the basic needs, like you said, just being able to sit on the couch and eat snacks with my wife, and my family's good, my kids is good. Like, they have so many other things that they have to focus on or worry about before they even have an opportunity like that. It's like they're we got ground zero, they're underground zero.
Yeah, man.
So they're really climbing just to get to a baseline or a place of stability where they can just take a deep breath and really figure out what
Mhm.
life is about. So I like that thought process, because I think that's why we do this work, is because the level of gratitude and fulfillment that we get in return, like, it's priceless, man.
Absolutely,
And you
man.
got to be in the trenches to see that.
Absolutely. Because if you're in the trenches, you ain't gonna see that. Or if you
You
don't come
ain't
from the
gonna see it.
trenches, you know.
Right,
And I come
right,
from the trenches, man.
yeah,
And I ain't gonna try to forget that ever.
yes.
Like there was a time in my professional career, man, that I was working in higher ed, and I still work in higher ed, but I was doing it full time. I was doing research, I was writing papers, other scholars were reading my research and my papers. But that research and stuff wasn't getting down to my people in the trenches. So you
Mm,
know what I said? I said, I gotta leave this ivory tower. You know,
right,
I gotta go back to the trenches.
right,
People need to see me. And not for nothing, my niggas need me.
right,
They need to see
right,
me and know
right.
that's one of us. And look at what he doing.
Absolutely.
He ain't over there where we probably ain't gonna get or we don't see ourselves there, but he right here in front of us.
Right,
So
right.
if he did it, we could do it.
And that's the difference. They could feel you and hear you. That's two
Right,
different things, right? They could hear you
right,
from the scholar and the right end. They could hear the
right.
intellect and the vernacular and all
Yeah.
these great things. But when they feel you, that's a
Mhm.
totally different energy and transmission of energy that you got to be in the trenches to feel. So for you to take a step back and realize that, like, no, I got to get in the field. I really got to be out here and touch my people,
Yeah.
so that way they could connect
Yeah.
to my authenticity. They know I come, like, they know you. Once they see
Yeah.
you, oh yeah, he one of us. I
Yeah.
could tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ain't no pump faking with that. He
That's
got
right.
that moniker. He got that energy. So now they're gonna galvanize and relate to you on a different level than someone just speaking at them. You're not speaking at them. You're speaking to them. It's two different things.
Speaking to him and speaking with him. I
Yes,
think
sir.
Mike said something about he said to see them is to know them. Or
Yes.
something like that. But yo, we got a couple minutes, man, before I gotta jump off.
Okay.
But I want to just maybe spend these last couple minutes, man, to let you riff. Maybe talk just a little bit more about CTC, what you about, and how people can reach you, man.
Yes, yes. So CTC is committed transformational coaching. It's entirely for men in the reentry and the recovery space. This is my passion. This is my life work. This is my mission. And for me, I'm here to disrupt. I'm here to change the game and change the narrative about the concept of men that's making the transition and focusing on the transformation and not the transition, and help building their mindsets to be more impactful, more deep level, more grounded men in our society, man. So again, you can reach me on LinkedIn. I'm up there, my first name and last name, Wafeeq Amin. Tap in with me. I want to grow, I want to advance, and I want to just push this envelope as far as I could, man. So connecting with like-minded brothers like yourself, man. I get a passion, I get uplifted by just being there to build some connectivity there, man. So thank you for your time. Thank you for giving me the platform to speak, and I look forward to doing some work with you, brother.
Absolutely, brother. And so let's stay in touch. Um, I'm gonna reach out to you on LinkedIn. I'm gonna send you my email address. I'll send
Okay.
you my phone number. And not for nothing, bro. You heard the record button go off when we started.
Yes,
So
sir.
I recorded this. But with your permission, only with your permission, I'll edit this conversation and use it as part of the Prison to Promise platform. And use it as a podcast, man, so
Yes,
people can hear
sir.
see you, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Share it with me. Once you put it together, share it with me, man, so I can post it on mine, man, and then we just have an organic conversation and see how we really do this in real time.
Indeed, indeed. And
Yes.
if you want, you can send me a headshot, or I could just take the one right off LinkedIn. Up to you.
Okay. Yeah, take the one off LinkedIn. I'm good with that one.
All right, sounds good, man. I'm gonna jump then, and we're gonna
All
be
right.
in touch. I'm gonna send you that math just now.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you,
All
brother.
right, brother.
All
Peace.
right. Take care.